For 24 long years, Suzuki has been selling a very ancient DR-Z400 Dual Sport and Supermoto that's freaking carbureted. Finally, for 2025, Suzuki has come out with a brand new DR-Z4S Dual Sport and DR-Z4SM Supermoto. But are they really that great? I'm going to break it down for you.
Let's go for a ride. Subscribe today.
I'm a self-proclaimed dual sport and supermoto fanatic and currently own a 2019 Yamaha YZ450FX custom street legal supermoto and a highly modded 2024 KTM 690 SMCR, and I had owned a highly modded 2015 Yamaha WR250R. And I will tell you, these are the most fun type of motorcycles that you can ride. However, I could never bring myself to buying the Suzuki DR-Z400 Dual Sport or the Supermoto because they're so freaking old. They've been out for over 24 years. Basically, every year they just change a new bold graphics and still had that freaking carburetor on the bike. And the bike's slow and heavy. Well, those days are over with, folks. Finally, Suzuki has come out with a brand new Suzuki DR-Z4S Dual Sport and a DR-Z4SM Supermoto. And they are now both fuel injected. And it has a new 398cc 4-valve liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine with dual ignition. And it's pumping out 38 horsepower at 8,000 RPM and 27.3 pound-feet of torque at 6,500 RPM. So it really hasn't gained that much horsepower. I think the previous generation pumped out 33 horsepower and 25 pound-feet of torque. So you got a net gain of 3 horsepower and 2 pound-feet of torque. Whoop-de-doo. But it does have fuel injection, which is a big improvement over the previous generation. It has new titanium intake valves and hollow sodium filled exhaust valves. It also has dual spark technology with 2 iridium spark plugs and a new air box and inlet tube for a sharper throttle response. It also has a redesigned clutch with a Suzuki Clutch Assist system, which works as a slipper and assist clutch. This allows a small amount of clutch slip under heavy deceleration and increased plate pressure under acceleration. It does have an old school cable clutch, and the exhaust is a new exhaust with a slim body profile and double wall design. But unfortunately, both of these bikes have a ride-by-wire system and electronics. Yes, it has adjustable traction control and switchable ABS. It actually has 4 levels of traction control. 1, 2, G, which equals gravel, and it's for unpaved surfaces, and you can turn it off. It does have a Bosch ABS system. Now the DR-Z4S Dual Sport has the additional ABS level. So it has 3 levels of ABS, active on both wheels, active on the front wheel only, and you can disable on both. The DR-Z4SM, the Supermoto, has 2 levels of ABS, active on both wheels or only on the front wheel. It does have an LCD display, which is a bit budget, but it does have access to information such as the ride mode, ABS setting, and it has a fuel gauge and speedometer, etc. It does have a new chassis. This is a new twin spar steel frame and aluminum subframe, adjustable KYB suspension. Now the Dual Sport and Supermoto have the same suspension, which is a 46mm inverted KYB cartridge fork with compression and rebound adjustment. It also has a KYB shock with compression, rebound, and preload adjustment. Now the suspension travel is different between both bikes. The Dual Sport has 11 inches of suspension travel up front and 11.6 inches of travel in the rear, as where the Supermoto has slightly less travel with 10.2 inches of travel up front and 10.9 inches of travel in the rear. The wheels, tires, and brakes are the biggest differences between the Supermoto and Dual Sport version. The Dual Sport has your classic 21-inch front wheel and 18-inch rear wheel with IRC GP 410 Dual Sport tires. The brakes, 270mm disc with dual piston caliper up front and a 240mm disc with single piston caliper in the rear. as where the Supermoto has your classic 17-inch wheels front and rear with Dunlop Sport Max Q5A tires. Now, I don't know if these are tubeless or not. I haven't got confirmation on that, but probably not, unfortunately. Does have an oversized 310 millimeter front disc and dual piston caliper up front. And the rear brake is the same as the Dual Sport, the 240 millimeter disc with a single piston caliper. Seat height for the Dual Sport is 36.8 inches. And for the Supermoto is 35 inches. Both bikes have a new revised rider triangle with a new tapered aluminum handlebar, wider foot pegs, and a new seat design. As far as the styling, it has all new bodywork and graphics. The Dual Sport comes in 3 colors: Champion Yellow number 2, Solid Special White number 2, and Solid Iron Gray with blacked out chassis parts. The Supermoto comes in only 2 colors: Solid Special White number 2 and the Sky Gray with blacked out chassis parts. And it has a new bifunctional LED headlight and an LED tail light. Unfortunately, the fuel capacity is actually less on these new bikes at 2.3 gallons for the fuel tank, as where the previous old version had 2.6 gallon tank. Unfortunately, these new bikes are actually even heavier than the previous old generation. The Supermoto rings in at 340 pounds curb weight and the Dual Sport at 333 pounds. The old Supermoto was 321 pounds. That's plus 19 pounds of extra weight. And the Dual Sport was 317 pounds. That's plus 16 extra pounds on this new bike. Suzuki, come on, you can do better than this. Yes, the new bikes look marginally better. It has a little tiny extra power, an extra 3 horsepower and 2 pound-feet of torque. Whoop-de-doo. It finally has fuel injection. We've only been asking for it for over 2 decades, which Europe has had a fuel-injected version, it seemed like forever. But at a cost of weight, it's heavier than ever now, man. An extra 19 pounds for this new Supermoto and an extra 16 pounds for the Dual Sport. That is crazy. Dude, this Supermoto at 340 pounds is just 10 pounds less than my 690 SMCR that has double the horsepower and double the torque. I'm telling you guys, these bikes better be cheap. The 2024 DR-Z400, I think, was sitting at about $7,000 or so dollars. So they'll probably bump this up about $1,000 to $8,000. So yeah, it's much cheaper than the 690 SMCR, which I think was at about, I don't know, like $12,000, $13,000. So yeah, it's a lot cheaper than the 690 SMCR, but seriously, man, this added weight is outrageous. I thought the previous generation was a pig, but now it is crazy. I mean, my YZ450FX custom street legal Supermoto only weighs 265 pounds, but yet has 20 more horsepower and 10 more pound-feet of torque than these Suzuki bikes. Yes, my YZ requires a lot more maintenance, but it's way more fun, man. I highly recommend you guys do a 450 Supermoto build, and I have a full build series on it, and I show you how to make it street legal. I have that link in the top right corner. I actually prefer my YZ over my KTM 690 SMCR, and I'm selling my KTM early next year. My YZ is staying as long as I'm riding motorcycles. I'm keeping that bike, man. But leave a comment below. Let's talk about it, guys. What do you guys think about this new DR-Z4S and DR-Z4SM? I want to get your opinion on it because I'm really not that pleased with these new bikes.
This thing is sick, man!
Make sure to hit thumbs up, man. Really helps my channel when you do. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Hit that little bell symbol so you get notified when my new videos comes out. But I release new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.